It felt really like I'd failed as a woman. That was the thing that got me for a long time after. I was like, I'm not worthy, I'm not a woman, I haven't had a birth and I haven't done it properly. After I hated myself, like, beyond belief.
Really?
Yeah, like really, really struggled with my body image. This is a lot of information, but I think I even said to Alex, I was like, I'm definitely pregnant after that. I was like, I remember walking to the toilet. And honestly, we finished, I walked to the toilet and I was like, no, I reckon I'm pregnant.
What did you do, Olivia?
I don't think we can say.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Today's guest is, well, she's reality TV royalty, I would say. And I say that because not only did she enter the villa, she entered the Love Island villa, she found love, she married love, and then she procreated with that love. Today's guest is Olivia Bowen.
Hi. Oh my goodness. I actually can't believe I'm on this podcast. Like, it feels a bit, I don't know, I just feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel so honoured. I don't know. I've seen so many amazing people on here and I just, to be sat in here. It's
and
lovely.
you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
To give people context, so we trekked together in 2019. So you and Alex had a team together for Copperfield in the Himalayas. And I've got to say, I didn't know much about you two before that trek. Oh my God, did I fall in love.
Oh, we had the best time. We were just reminiscing before, wasn't we, about everything that went on, like the mountain poos. And you just get very close during a trip like that, don't you? Like there's nowhere to hide, basically. So we all did get really close, didn't we? It was amazing.
Absolutely. And I just like, you two are just such a beautiful couple. And not just with each other, but outwardly to other people as well.
We loved it. We loved every minute. Like it was so, I remember getting to the top of that mountain and like falling into your arms crying because it was quite scary, that one last mountain we did. Do you remember how steep it was?
Yeah.
And I just really thought I couldn't do it. And then I think you told me we were getting pasta and then that was it. Floodgates were open. I was like, pasta and cheese.
Pasta will do that to people, especially on that trek. You know, it's the Himalayas, there's a lot of spice everywhere. And then just be told you're getting tomato pasta.
We had curry, didn't we? Like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then pasta at the top of that scary mountain. Oh, that was it for me. It's just the best day of my life. We are here to talk about the child that I had, but that was the best day of my life.
How old is Abel now?
He's 2. He's just turned 2.
Oh.
Yeah. He is honestly the craziest little human. You can't even describe him. I wish you could meet him because he's just so funny. But he is me and Alex, like, in a nutshell.
Really?
Yeah. I always say to people, I'm like, he's so crazy. And they're like, well, what did you expect? Like, it's you and Alex that created him. He's going to be nuts. But he's got so much energy. I think boys do.
Do you feel like you're constantly trying to keep up?
Yeah. He's a child that has to be outside constantly. And I think I did bring him up like that. Like he was with the horses from, a few months of age and I rode pregnant. So he's been used to like that whole way of life. So I think he's just been born into it. And now I'm like, God, I should have made him like the sofa more. But
like the sofa, like pen and paper, come on.
No, it's so nice. But yeah, he does have to be out in the morning, like walking, doing something, jumping, running, riding. Like he's got his little pony sausage.
He rides as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it was more for me. But because I loved horses when I was younger, but we could never afford to have one. So I think the minute I had a child, I was like, I must have a pony now that we can. So we got this little 6-year-old pony called Sausage. Oh. She's called Sausage because she's so fat. I'm like, I hard relate. But she's so sweet and he loves it. Like he'll be on her and he'll be like faster, like literally wants to trot. He does the little noise and it's just
he's only
so
2.
Cute. Yeah. We do. We just like, I don't know how he's like that.
And when you say that you used to ride whilst pregnant, how far into your pregnancy did you have to stop?
So this was always a bit of a thing. I didn't post about it too much on Instagram because obviously it is a risk. Like it's a decision that you make, knowing your horse, knowing your ability and speaking to your instructor on whether it's a good idea or not. But I rode probably until about 36 weeks.
Wow.
So I was, nearly full term. It got very difficult towards the end. And I ended up
getting on and off must have been the reason.
But I've got a picture. I'll have to show it to you. I literally look, I've got this huge basketball under my belly and my poor horse is under me like, what has this woman done? How many donuts has she eaten? But for me, it's like it's a version of therapy. And I always sort of put alongside the fact when I like posted about it, I was always like, this is a mentally positive decision for me personally. Like I have to have an outlet and I have to go and do this because my horses are my therapy.
Yeah.
So, you know, as the podcast says, like happy mum, happy baby, I had to make myself happy by doing those things. And a lot of people were very, you know, that's so dangerous, like you're risking your baby's life. And it is a bit of a controversial thing, but it worked for us. And I trust
horses
my horse.
can be that for any person at any point. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And you know, even dancers who carry on dancing the whole way through their pregnancy, you know your body, and it's not like you're taking up horse riding.
No.
It's something your body
I'm not
knows.
great, but I'm not crap. So I'll stay on. No, and my horse is so lovely. Like, look, anything can happen at any point. You can fall over and really, really badly hurt yourself. So I think it's one of them things that you just have to make the right decision for yourself. But so I just feel like ever since I rode with him, I feel like he knows it. He knows trot, and honestly, he does his little rides, and I'm like, you're two. How are you doing rising trot right now? I can't even do that. He's so good, but he loves it.
When you were younger, did you look to the future and did you ever think, you know what, when I'm older, I want kids?
No.
Really? No.
No, thank you. No, I've never. Even when I was younger, I remember my mum telling me, she was like, you were more likely to sit and chat with the adults when you got to like a little bit older, so sort of like 9, 10, 11. I'd be comfortable in a room of adults having a chat or sitting with them. I wouldn't want to be playing. I don't know, I just haven't ever really wanted children. And I think up till I got pregnant, I did not want children.
Really?
Yeah. And it was actually a moment, it was just after COVID when we could all travel again. Me and Alex went to Portugal and we were sitting by the pool and we saw, it was like a family hotel. We didn't really realise at the time. And we saw lots of children like playing and we were looking and we were like, oh, they're really sweet. Oh, they're really cute. Oh, how lovely. And we both looked at each other literally at the same time and we're like, this is weird. We've never said this before. Normally we're like, ew, can you be quiet? And now, and we were like, why are we finding this?
And until that point, had you had that conversation about not wanting kids?
I'd always been quite open with Alex saying I'm not sure.
Right.
I said I reckon I'd get there eventually, but more because I just thought that was what we did as women, just had babies. So I guess I just always thought that it would happen and it ended up happening. But I feel like it was a very real possibility that it might not have.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have come to that realisation. But it was really nice for us to both think it at the same time. Alex wanted to be a dad. He didn't grow up with a dad. So I think for him, he wanted to prove himself and he knew that he'd be a really good dad. Yeah. Because of that, I guess it's made him into the person that he is. So I guess I always wanted to give him that opportunity as well, but I would never have done it if it wasn't something that I wanted to. But
also, imagine that scene, but now they're not all being adorable and amazing. They're all fighting with each other.
We missed that bit.
But, you know, it just kind of get on a different day, if that moment had occurred, you would have looked at each other.
I know.
And fuck that shit.
No, thank you. But literally, I think it was about 3 months after, then we conceived Abel.
Did you, from that moment, you're like, shall we just go for this and see what happens?
We'd always been saying, oh, should we, shouldn't we? And then at that moment, it was like this like epiphany moment that we were like, we want to have a child. So then we were like, oh, let's just like throw caution to the wind kind of thing. Yeah. And then if Abel ever listens back to this, he's going to cringe so hard. But it was actually on our 5 year? No, it was our 3rd year anniversary, I think, our wedding anniversary that he was conceived. Like, how weird is that? If that's not like written in the stars, I don't know what is. But sorry, Abel, if you ever watch this. But yeah, it was on our wedding anniversary. And so that was just a few months later that it happened. It happened very, very quickly.
Had either of you worried about fertility or anything like that? Because obviously having friends around you who would have been trying for kids or, you know, found difficulties and stuff, I do think it makes you a little bit more aware or cautious of what might be happening in your own bodies.
Yeah, I think I'd never had a scare. So I don't know about you, but when I was like younger, I always would be like, oh, why haven't I got pregnant?
Yeah.
like I always thought I would have had like an accident or something like that. I would have expected to. So I did always think, oh, maybe I can't because I hadn't had that. But actually, like getting pregnant is quite hard. Like it's not as easy. You know, when you're in school, like if you have sex, you will get pregnant. Like, the minute you do it, you will be pregnant.
Just look at a boy and it happens.
Yeah. So I guess that was always in my head from school. It was like, you're literally going to get pregnant. I think that's why it's quite hard now. When you sort of look at fertility, like we've all been drummed into it. It's so easy. It's so like it can happen. Like, but it is hard. And I think we were both shocked.
I wonder if on some level, because you had that thought of maybe I can't, whether part of you not really wanting to commit to the idea of having kids is almost like a self-preservation thing of kind of, well, maybe I can't, but maybe I don't want to anyway. So this is okay.
I think for me, it was. I remember when I was in Love Island all that time ago.
2016.
I know, 8 years ago.
Long
I was
time
22.
ago.
Now I'm 104. But I said in Love Island, I was like, I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have kids. But I do think, like you said, it was because I hadn't had that opportunity. So I was just self-guarding, being like, oh, I don't want to get married anyway. I don't want to have kids because the opportunity hadn't arose. But then obviously the minute Alex proposed to me 6 months after we met, I was like, yes! I don't think I even let him finish the sentence. He always says. I don't know if that's true, but I think I did let him finish the sentence. He'll argue with me on that one. So yeah, I think you're right in a way that I'm very like I'm a self-guarded person and I'm like that even in like games with competition and things. Yeah. I'll be like, I don't want to win. Like I don't want to win at all. I don't need to win. I'm not competitive.
So blasé.
And then I'll like edge into second place and I'm like, oh, I'm winning this thing. I always act like I'm not bothered. I don't know what that is. Like probably need therapy for that.
Yeah, I'm sure a therapist somewhere is going, Olivia.
My therapist is literally going to listen to this and like, right, she's got to come back immediately.
We're picking up on that this week.
Yeah.
So the day that you found out you were pregnant, were there any symptoms? Were you late? Like what made you test? Set the scene.
I kind of knew. This is a lot of information, but I think I even said to Alex, I was like, I'm definitely pregnant after that. Like it was like I'm not joking. I was like, I remember walking to the toilet. And honestly, we finished. I walked to the toilet and I was like, "Nah, I reckon I'm pregnant." Obviously, I know that's not possible to know, but I just.
What did you do, Olivia? That made you go, "That's the one."
I don't think we can say. I don't think it's appropriate. Oh dear.
Okay, so you waddled to the toilet.
Yeah, I waddled to the toilet, clenched. No, I'm kidding. I don't know why I said it. I just said it, and I don't say things like that. I'm very superstitious and things, so I always think I just know things. But then it was 2 weeks later, and I started getting a pain in my left side, and I was like, I don't recognise this pain. This feels weird. Right. And then another 2 weeks later, I was like, I just had this feeling. I can't even say it was sickness or it was nothing. I just knew.
Felt different.
Yeah, I just knew. And I never would have thought that I would have been so in tune with my body, but I'd come off the pill quite a long time ago and I really knew my body very well in that sense of things.
That's a really interesting thing as well, isn't it? How much, so many of us. So I went on the pill at 15, 16.
Yeah, me too.
And that, like, to know that for years you don't know what your body's doing. You literally are masking what your body's doing. So when you do want to stop the pill and get pregnant, you're so unaware of what
this is what
I
say to my friends, and like I'm so obviously there is so many things that work for different women. You have to look at your own life and how it fits in. But for me personally, I would never go back on the pill again. Yeah. I love knowing what my body's doing. I can feel if I'm ovulating, I can feel the pains. Like I know what that feels like. Yeah. And it's so empowering being so in control of your reproductive system and actually knowing what's going on. And I think that's why I was so in tune when that happened, because I was like, this is a pain I've not felt before. I know I normally feel this pain around this time, but that's not what I'm feeling. And then, did a pregnancy test and was pregnant, and I was like shocked, but not because I was so confident that I knew. But it turns out.
Did you do that test together?
No,
Did he know that you were doing it?
So I didn't want him to be there, and I think I was worried I was going to disappoint him.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do it with him, which is a weird, I don't know.
No, I feel like
that.
that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely makes sense.
So I was like, I want to do it on my own, just in case it's not, because I don't want him to be disappointed, because then I'll feel really sad.
I don't think I've done a single pregnancy test with Tom in the room.
Have you not?
No.
And that makes me feel more normal, because I
feel like it's, I've done it and then shown him.
Yeah, because even recently when I've been late, I've done it on my own, and I've just been like, I've bought it with him and I've not told him that I've done it, because I've just been, I don't know, I don't want to disappoint anyone.
Yeah.
Not that I can't really do much about it. It's not completely my
I wonder if it's also part of it, it's your body. So it's almost like you want to take stock before you, there's probably, I reckon it's not a very strange thing to do.
So I went upstairs, did the pregnancy test, and then I came down and I wanted to record it because I knew his reaction, it would just be priceless. And I actually was like, Alex, and he was on the Xbox and he went, what? As in, like, I was going to ask him to do the dishwasher or something. And I was like, oh no, just telling you that I'm carrying an unborn child, but you're getting annoyed at me because you think I'm trying to get you off the Xbox. But yeah, like, he came in and he was just...
Is that literally how you told him?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
I was like, come here. And he was like, what? And I was like, just come here. He wouldn't. And like, eventually he did. And I just held it. And in the video, you can see me profusely shaking. It was just
He just scoops you up.
Oh, I know. And I literally just crumble.
Yeah.
It was just the most loveliest moment. But then when we went and had our first scan, the pain that I'd felt in my left side, that's where it had secured itself.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't know, I'm not like a scientist or anything, but where the egg had like joined you get that pain, and that's what I felt. So it was right. I was right about that pain 2 weeks prior to doing the test, which is so cool. Yeah. I love that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So when I said to her, she was like, yeah, that would have been what you'd felt, because it's linked to your left side and that's what ovary it's in. So
that's so
cool. I did know. Maybe I didn't know straight after, but 2 weeks later I knew.
So how was your pregnancy? Did you enjoy it?
I loved my pregnancy. I'm not going to lie. I just loved dressing my bump so much. I loved having a bump. It was just, I don't know, it was just such a comforting feeling, having a little baby. And I would never have said that, because originally I thought it was so alien. And I'd always say to people, that is so alien, having like something in your belly. Mm-hmm. But then after that, when it's you, it felt the most natural thing I've ever done. And it was just so, so lovely. The trouble is after.
Yeah.
The dressing yourself after. Like, that was the trouble.
Well, we can talk about this now. Well, obviously, doing Love Island, I always feel like you have to have a certain amount of confidence within you and your body to do that show, because you are all in your bikinis the whole time. And, you've always looked a certain way. Then to get pregnant, to see your body change. And I think pregnancy can be a time of it. So it is a strange thing to see your body changing, but you understand it's for a purpose and you can embrace it. Then afterwards, like, it can feel a bit, it's so alien. Yeah. How has your experience, differed? Like, how has your journey been with your body?
I really, really, really struggled, and I don't think I've ever been completely honest about it online, because it's a really tough subject for me, because I've always been so like body confident, but now I look back and I was like, I'm body confident because I'm the society's image of like a good body image, whereas I'd never really fully appreciated it from someone else's point of view that doesn't put them in the pinnacle of body image in society. So I knew when I got pregnant that was something that I would just lose my shit over after. Really? And I did. I still struggle with it. But after, I hated myself like beyond belief.
Really?
Yeah, like really, really struggled with my body image. Pregnant, loved it. And then the minute Abel was born and I was looking at myself in a completely different light, which makes no sense. The fact that you can look at yourself when you're pregnant and absolutely love the way you look and think, wow, I'm incredible, I'm carrying this baby. But then after, it was like I was comparing myself to other girls that were in the public eye that had kids around the same time as me, and I was looking at them thinking, oh my God, you look amazing, and not thinking about myself and thinking I need to bounce back. I ended up actually really injuring myself because I had a complicated birth. I started running too early because I was so conscious of what I looked like. I ended up breaking my stitches. I ended up I horse rode too early because I wanted to get fit again, and I caused myself a lot of damage. Not going into too much detail, but I ended up like actually really hurting myself from wanting to bounce back. It was like, and even now, I think I still wouldn't have done it differently.
Really?
The first time round. The second, if I got pregnant again, I know to look after myself. But I know for a fact I would have done that again and again and again. Like, that wouldn't have changed. But I guess it is, you know, my job is on social media, and to see all these girls look so incredible and think that you don't look like that, it was such a hard thing. And because I'd always had such great body confidence and I loved my body, that was just someone I didn't really recognise and I had no respect for. And it's so sad.
That's sad, the fact that you had no respect for your body.
For what it just did. I know. It's awful. And I think I never really spoke about it online because I didn't want anyone else to feel the way that I felt. Like, you can be open about it, but for me, I had a lot of people, you know, a lot of young girls looking at me or young women looking at me that are in the same position. If I'm sat there moaning about what I look like, and I just didn't want to put it on anyone. Even though people relate to it, I feel like sometimes it's putting it on people. And if people look at me and go, oh, she's moaning about the way she looks after being pregnant and she's not happy, well, that means that I shouldn't be either. So I always tried to paint this picture of like, I'm happy, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't.
It's funny as well because I feel like going into Love Island, your bodies are a massive part of it. And I think when I was growing up, it absolutely, there was a thing where unless you looked a certain way, you were not worthy.
Yeah, 100%. The magazines like we used to look at, honestly.
Exactly. And the way that, you know, everything was spoken about in the late 90s, early noughties, like when you see it all coming up now, you're just like, well, no wonder.
Can you believe it?
All of us pin our worth on that, or have at some point in the past. It's then that thing of being the other side of it and just letting your body do what it does.
I know. It's so hard though, because you can tell yourself it a million times, but sometimes your mind just doesn't listen. But I am getting better now. I'm definitely like on the other side of it, but I still do struggle. Like even I think it was a few months ago, I broke down to Alex and was like, I'm so unhappy. I wake up every day and look in the mirror and pull myself apart.
Really?
And I don't know what changed. I don't know what that is.
Is it because you literally feel like before you were a part of that beauty standard?
Yeah,
that was, and you were achieving that.
Yeah.
Therefore, you were worth so
that's
much.
fine. Yeah.
Whereas now, you're a woman who's had a baby.
I know.
Your body has altered. Your body has lived. But because of the old standards, even though you know what your body has given you,
that is what it is.
Judging yourself by something.
You've hit the nail on the head. That's what it is. Like that, I was, like I said, at the pinnacle of what society deemed to be perfect. Yeah. And now, and like, amazing. Yeah, I love that time. But now it's really hurt me because I feel like I'll never be that again.
I hope, right,
it's silly.
It's not even an acceptance thing because I feel like the word acceptance is just kind of making you go, well, this is what it is. Yeah. And I feel like it's got to be deeper than that. Like, I wish for you to be able to move through life not feeling like your days are going to be determined by what your body is doing, because your body is helping you get through each day.
Yeah, I try to look at it like
just
that.
to serve a purpose.
Yeah, and that's the thing with going to the gym. Like more recently, I started Pilates, going to the gym, horse riding, and I'm starting to look at it as like, oh wow, my body can do this, whereas before I'd be like, oh, well, I need to punish my body because I've done that previous. I've eaten that thing.
But again, you know, like 15, 20 years ago, it was all about how you're punishing your body to get bikini ready.
Like, what was everyone used to say, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Yeah, thank you, Kate Moss.
What on earth? Uh-huh. Like that's etched into our brains. But no, I am on the other side of it. I am a lot happier. And actually, it's really funny because when I work out, I know within 3 days, I'm like, I look great. But I've not changed at all. It's all in here. It's so in your head about your body and your mind connection because...
But the way that you do horse riding, that's for your mind, right? And everything else has to be for your mind.
Yeah. But it is a struggle, and it was a struggle. I just never wanted to... I never wanted to put that on anyone or anyone to know that I had that like weakness. It's easier now, and I think as you watch your child grow up, there's things that I used to worry about so much beforehand, and now I'm like, they don't even enter my brain because you watch that child and you want so much for them, and there's so many amazing things to fill your life with what they do and how they act and how they learn that the stuff you used to bother yourself with, you don't have time to bother yourself with that anymore because you're focusing so much on what's happening now with them. So the more he grows up and the more he does, I think when you're in that newborn situation, there's a lot of time to think when you're sitting there holding them, and you really do overthink. But now I'm like, he keeps me so busy. I don't have time to worry about my ass. Like,
also, I remember in pregnancy just feeling like the most womanly I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're out. And I felt like in every pregnancy, I just balloon after they're out.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. I just seem to suddenly have loads of
Funny,
liquid.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But then why are we so bothered? Like,
that's the thing. But also you've just grown a human and pushed it out of you.
I know.
You are depleted.
The birth situation.
Right, well, how did you feel leading towards a birth? Was it something that you'd had you done hypnobirthing,
yes.
you planned for?
Yes.
Right,
I did it all. I
Okay.
literally studied it.
Yep.
I loved the concept of it. I loved all of it. And I was so into it and I so believed I could do it.
Yeah.
So then when I couldn't do it, it was like a big fat F for me.
So, where were you when things kicked off?
I was at the pub.
Okay. It's good to get a last
I was
drink in.
drinking a
It's
Diet
fine.
Coke, everyone. Don't get excited. Headlines. No, I was at the pub with my friend and I was eating a ham and cheese panini and I was like, this is hurting me. What is this? And I called my midwife and she was like, you could be in early stages of labour, but it was just so painful.
How far along were you?
I was 2 days over,
Okay.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was still out and about, still
Yeah.
at the pub.
But we are in action stations, things could be happening.
But I was only down the road, it was literally
Right.
2 minutes, and I was with a friend. I was chasing my friend's daughter around, and I was like, "No, I'm really in pain." She's even got a picture of me bent over double over this bench with my phone to my ear. I've got a chip in my hand, just trying to act normal. But you know what I did before I went to the pub, and I'll have to show you it because I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like this 3-step way of getting into labour.
Right.
And I did it. And then went into labour. I don't know whether that was just a fluke, but one of the positions you were laid right down with your bum in the air, with wide hips. Another one was going up the stairs, and you did it each one for half an hour. It's called something circuit, and I did that. Left the house, and within 2 hours that had happened.
So was Alex with you?
No, he was at home. I was like, ow, I'm in labour. I'm at the pub. Can you come get me? So then I just went home instantly because I think when it's your first, you do freak out a little bit. I was a bit freaked out.
Were you able to stay at home for a bit?
Yeah, I stayed at home. I went into labour at, I think it was about 2 p.m. and then I stayed until about 4 a.m.
Okay.
But my midwife came to check me at home about 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Because I was just in so much pain.
Yeah.
And I really thought that I'd be I've got really high pain threshold for tattoos and things. It's not like getting a tattoo. It's not, is it? So I thought, I'll smash this. But I really found it painful. And I think some people are so
what
different.
was your pain? Was it a constant pain? Was it the contractions?
It was contractions, yeah. And they were coming so thick and fast. But for some reason, I wasn't dilating.
Right.
So my contractions were saying, you're ready to go in. You're you should be dilated 6-7 centimeters, but I wasn't.
Right.
I just wasn't dilating, but the pain was just so constant. Yeah, she came to me and it was 2 centimeters, and then I think she came 4 hours later and it was 2.5. Nothing was progressing.
Yeah.
And then we eventually, I think I was about 4 centimetres. I was like, I can't do this. I need some sort of pain relief. So we got in the car and went to the hospital. Alex forgot my birth notes. So we got to the hospital. Can I have some pain relief? No. I could have swung. I was so annoyed. He had to race back home, get my birth notes before they could give me anything. So I was just
God.
but then I was 5 centimetres and then I could go into the birthing pool, which is exactly what I wanted. And it was just amazing. I remember having a bit of gas and air, talking about the blackbirds outside. Got in the pool and everything was really happy and really great. And then I think I pushed and I shouldn't have, and it stressed Abel out, and then he ended up pooing. So then as soon as that happens, you can't give birth in the birthing pool no more. And I think that just sent me under. And then from that moment on, it just all went.
Did you feel like you were out of control of the situation?
Yeah. For anyone that knows me, I'm the biggest control freak. So to have all of things going to plan, sit the birth notes, I was happy. And then as soon as that I just lost the plot. I just lost all the hypnobirthing techniques I'd like looked at and remembered. They just went, and I just lost my head completely.
So what happened when you got out of the pool?
I got out of the pool, and then I was wheelchaired over to the labour ward.
So you even had to leave the room?
Yeah, so I left my cute little like dark room with the fairy lights, and then you go straight into labour ward, bright lights. Like I loved the idea of like giving birth at home and things like that, but I'm too scared now to ever do that. But yeah, I rushed to labour ward, and I just think I just lost the control thing, and then the pain started to get to me more. I ended up having an epidural.
Did you feel better once you'd had that?
That was great. Just laid there. Alex, honestly, this might be TMI, but Alex was like, you were just laid there with your legs just splayed open. You did not give a shit who came in or out.
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, Alex, what do you expect me to do? Like, shut my legs? Like, I've literally got like a head halfway out my nut. Like, please let me live. But no, he was like, you were so funny. You were just so like laid there. But then still, I just wasn't dilating. Like things just weren't happening. And then it got to the point where they were like, his heart rate's dropping and we need to get him out. And then it was okay for a couple of hours and it all suddenly got very rushed. And I don't really remember very much of it from that point because I think you sort of go into survival mode and my brain doesn't want to remember.
Right.
But that's when they were like, we need to do emergency C-section and all of that happened. But in the end, before I got in to have that emergency C-section, they said, we'll check you one last time. And miraculously, my body must have been like, I don't want a C-section. And I had dilated the full 3 centimetres within like 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really weird.
Especially when there's so much, especially with hypnobirthing and stuff, with you being relaxed, with you, just letting your body be. And having that thought of, that's a lot going on. If you're overwhelmed, you're suddenly at the pool, you've been moved.
That's
you're
what I
going
think
to
did
theatre. But you, if anything, the fact that you got to 10 centimetres.
I think I went back up. Like when they told me, and I was probably at 5 and I was like, nope. Freaked me out. Yeah, so eventually I got there and I don't know whether it was because I knew he was coming or I was really, I don't want to have a C-section. I don't know what it was, but at that point, so we ended up going in there and he was delivered by forceps, but I had a episiotomy as well. So it was all very...
How was that? At the time, I guess you're not really aware of it happening.
Alex said that he forgot that all happened. Like he forgot that I'd been cut. He forgot the baby had come out. He walked past and then walked back and then looked and was like, oh, like there was a lot of blood. Like I hemorrhaged. I think I had to be on tablets and injections quite a while after because of the amount of blood I lost. But I was lying there with no idea. But he saw it all and he said it was very, very traumatic. He really, really struggled. Like he's such a sensitive soul, such a sweet person, and yeah, he struggled a lot seeing me. He went into the toilet a good few times to cry whilst everything was going on. Yeah, because he just felt helpless. Like when the man, they can do so much, but I look back now and I'm like, I would do that 1,000,000 times over. You just would, wouldn't you? Yeah. Even having to sit on a donut pillow and it not helping afterwards with the stitches and things. I'd be like, I'd take that. I'd take it all over again. Like, it just... I still look back at it with kind of rose-tinted glasses a little bit. And how does it do that? It's magic, isn't it?
Magical thing. Also, because I think... Because maybe we don't talk about or we don't want to focus on those stories, the stories there where there are complications or there is a lot of blood or people have to be cut. It means that when you are in that environment, which even if you are aware, actually, I think when you're suddenly placed in the environment, it's a very different thing. So for Alex to see all that.
It's probably etched in his brain differently to it is in mine.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you never want to tell, again, I never want to tell the story too much because I never want to scare anyone or never want anyone to feel like a certain way from what I say. So it's something that I don't really like talking about too much.
But think of the mum then who's at home, who has had a similar birth story to you,
so
and who is then feeling validated with their feelings because you're expressing yours.
And I do feel like when I did all the hypnobirthing, it was like, you are made to do this. Like, this is your path. Like, it's great if you're in that mindset. But then when you don't go that way and you aren't able to do this, it then makes you feel even more guilty. Because I was like, well, am I not a woman then for not having the birth that you were telling me that I should have had because I'm a woman?
Yeah.
It felt really like I'd failed as a woman not being able to do it. And that was the the thing that got me for a long time after. I was like, well, I'm not worthy. I'm not a woman. I haven't had a birth. I haven't done it properly. That's what I kept feeling like.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I thought, no, I absolutely smashed that. That was hard work. Like, however you give birth to your child, however you get that baby earthside, like, it's incredible. And that's what, for a long time, I didn't realise. And then when I think you sort of grow with motherhood, you're like, no, like, regardless, you smash it. However you brought your baby in, like, that's insane shit.
It's insane shit. Do you remember meeting Abel for the first time?
Yeah, do you know, honestly, when they come out, they look funny, don't they?
Yeah.
I was not expecting him to look like a little red goblin. Like, that's what he looked like. But we didn't find out the sex, so we were, it was a nice little touch and a nice little surprise when he came out and was a boy, because we were convinced we were having a girl right at the last minute, and then he was a boy, and it was just like unreal. You can't explain it, can you?
No.
You just can't. It was just so, like, when that little baby is placed on you. And then when I first breastfed, because I didn't want to.
Oh, really?
I didn't want to breastfeed. I think I'd never been, as you know, like a motherly person or really like children. So the thought of it to me was like very unnatural.
Yeah.
And then the first time I did it, I was like, I love this. Like,
really?
Yeah, I absolutely loved breastfeeding. I miss it so much.
Oh.
It was just the way, like, it bonded you. It was just so lovely.
Did it happen quite quickly?
Happened really naturally, which I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he's just a hungry boy and he was like, I'm getting out one way or another, or I don't know. But
that is really hard, isn't it? Because actually that relies on both of you knowing to a certain extent what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or being able to work together.
Yeah, but the nurses were so great in the hospital. Like, they made it so easy and they were on hand and they just made it happen. And I don't know how we managed it, because I had no idea what I was doing. Obviously, you don't, do you?
Well, no, until that moment, you didn't think you would.
No.
What made you
it was
go
so
for
wrong?
it?
Honestly, I was one of them people that was like, no. I don't know.
So in that moment, though,
you suddenly just turn into a mother. I'm a mother.
Hello, child. Here is my breast.
I'd never looked at it. I'm aware how lucky I am to have been able to do that. Because for some women, it's so hard. I have friends that have really, really struggled. So I look back at my breastfeeding journey with it makes me so happy to think that I was able to do it. I didn't even do it for too long. I did it for 4 months.
Yeah.
Because then he bit me and then it just...
I always said 6 months or teeth. And then it took me so long to actually... For us to start working together, that I ended up going just over a year.
Yeah.
And because I'd done that for a while, and I felt like...
My friend now, she's been breastfeeding her baby, I think he's 9 months now, but with her first, she didn't do that.
Yeah. But teeth and 6 months were the two milestones that were my first thing.
Yeah, he bit me and I was like, I'm sorry. I also
like my nipples.
Yeah, that was the most painful thing. Like, honestly, never in a million years.
When it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he had teeth quite early. Like, he had 2 little teeth when he was 4 months. So I was like, this is so, like, soon. But no, I really enjoyed that whole journey. So just from that moment when he was placed on me, I remember looking at him and he was breastfeeding. And I was like, this feeling is just like nothing else. It was like nothing else.
Did it surprise you, having been someone who wasn't particularly maternal, although I know that you had that epiphany and you're like, no, this is what we're doing, to suddenly see you being super maternal and having that love?
I remember writing in my notes, actually. I think he was about 3 months old. And I remember writing in my notes that I didn't want to be looked at as a mum. I was like, I'm not a mum. I don't feel like a mum. I have a baby and I love my baby, but I do not want anyone to look at me or call me mum. I didn't like it when people referred to me as mum.
Really?
Yeah, I hated it.
Why?
I don't know. Again, my therapist is watching.
Well, I know that you struggled mentally after, which with the birth trauma, with the way you were viewing your body, recovery, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Do you think that was sort of wrapped up in that time of feeling a little bit lost?
I think it is like the lost feeling afterwards. Like, I think like postnatal is just so common and we don't even realise it. And I really struggled after, like, anxiety wise. I was really depressive. And I do think I was just shunning the image of being a mum because I just so wasn't ready to give up who I was before, and I felt like I'd lost my whole identity. I had no clue who I was.
Yeah.
Like, I remember talking to my friends and being like, I literally don't know who I am. Like, I could not tell you one thing about myself. And to lose yourself like that deeply.
Yeah.
and then I think I've always, because I didn't want kids, I always looked at being a mum as not a bad thing, but just something that was never me.
Oh, look, and also it's not a you thing. I think over the years, it's mumsy, or that's always seen as such like a negative thing.
I posted in my underwear, I think, and someone was like, "You're a mum now. This is disgusting." I'm like, "How do you think I got pregnant?"
In this underwear.
In this underwear.
There we go.
But I do, yeah.
And it was so good that I knew instantly.
I knew. 2 minutes later, pregnant. No, I do think it, like you said, it's the people make mumsy comments, but I just wasn't ready to be called that. And now I'm like, give it to mummy, and I just never expected myself to say that. Even when I say it now, I'm like, I don't know, it's weird.
When do you think you were aware of mentally not feeling 100%?
I think it was when my milk properly came in, and I was like kind of prepared for that to happen. Yeah. But the one standout thing I do really remember is he wouldn't breastfeed one day, and I think because it was going so well, and then he just refused it and was just crying and crying, and I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. And he wouldn't, and I just remember thinking, this is hell. Like, I can't do this. Yeah. What am I doing wrong? Like, I must be crap at being a mum because he won't feed from me. He doesn't want my milk. Like, he doesn't even know what's going on. But in my head, it was like, he doesn't like me. He doesn't want my milk. It tastes horrible. I'm doing it wrong, or his mouth is latched wrong. It was all my fault.
Yeah.
And I think from that point onward, I just kind of spiraled, and I suffer with anxiety anyway. I have ever since, as long as I can remember. Mm-hmm. Like loads of like socially, food, so many different things. Yeah. So I kind of was expecting it. I kind of knew it was going to happen.
Could you verbalise that to people straight away, that it was happening?
No, but I think because my family and friends are so aware, I'm very lucky because they know me like the back of their hand. They knew in a way that I was going to struggle.
Do you feel like you're aware of when there was a turning point and things started getting easier?
The big sigh.
Has it happened?
No, I don't remember a big turning point.
Yeah.
I really can't pinpoint it. And I think maybe that is because I'm still in the midst of it. I will always have anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, I think I will always be quite a naturally depressive person. Like, I'm still on medication. I went to therapy, went back to therapy. I'm a very work in progress kind of person. So I can't say there's been an epiphany to when it got better, but I'm definitely happy now.
Yeah.
But that's just a thing that I have. It's a predisposition for me. That is just who I am. I'm an anxious person, and I've just learned to deal with it over the years in certain ways. It's not necessarily gone, but I think I've just learned better mechanisms to cope with it, whether that's writing lists or exercising, going to see the horses, going for a walk, talking to someone. There's a lot of ways I deal with it now that I never dealt with it properly when I first gave birth.
Yeah. Yeah, and just being able to talk to people about that feeling of failing in different aspects when you really haven't.
No, but you literally in your head you think, I am the worst mother in the whole world, and you've done nothing wrong. But it's amazing how hormones work, and how that moment when my milk come in I think it was that moment.
Yeah,
that
happened. Olivia, one thing I know you love is sleep.
Yes,
I know you
do
sleep. You love your
This
sleep.
is a thing. Like, this has always been a thing for me. I love my sleep.
Also, because I
Happy
guess
place, you know.
Because of love. I know that you and Alex are actually real homebodies. I know you previous to having Abel, you loved a night out, but really you are home is where you are comfy, right? I know you love a sleep.
Yeah. How do you know that?
So how has motherhood been with even things like interrupted sleep? I think that's a really tricky thing to navigate when you're used to having a block and needing that block of time, especially with your underactive thyroid. So you know that you need sleep. And then actually, you've got this other thing that keeps waking you up and that you need to do.
Yeah. Again, it links to a lot of things. I slept a lot because I was quite depressed.
Right.
And I never realised that for a long time. I think when I told Alex some stories from when I was a teenager, I was like, I used to go to bed at 8 and I wouldn't get up till midday, and I wouldn't brush my hair, I wouldn't brush my teeth. Like, you don't realise at the time that's what's happening to you. Yeah. And actually my sleep was a lot linked to the fact that I was happier asleep. which sounds quite awful, but that is the long and short of it. Like, it was just like a very comfortable place for me to be asleep. Sounds very morbid. So I guess when I had Abel, it wasn't a possibility to be asleep. So it just changed in a way. And I think I learned to deal with things very differently, and I learned how to manage my anxiety. And there's a lot that I learned alongside having Abel because I had to deal with it. There was nowhere to hide. I had to face things front on, whereas previously you could kind of just go along with it and be selfish and not deal with the problem. But when you've got this little boy relying on you, you think, I need to work out what the hell this is and what's going on. Actually, like, I have this watch, it tells me how long I sleep, and I only slept 6 hours last night. That's
a lot.
No, it's not.
That's still a decent amount.
Okay, so that is like, that's what I function on. But before it was like 10 hours, 11 hours a night. So that to me is like, I'm just a different person now. And they're like the interrupted sleep, that's what's, like you said, that's what's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they're like little newborns. But you just get up and go, you just deal with it, which is what I find the most insane thing, is that I just got up, I just fed him, I just dealt with it, I put him back, and you just keep doing it. You just keep going and keep going. And that's what's, again, so amazing about being a woman and having a baby and literally having a birth like I did, and then dealing with that, dealing with the sleep, dealing with underactive thyroid. But you just keep going.
Mm-hmm. So
and you don't know how.
No, but now you've got a toddler.
Yeah.
And an underactive thyroid.
Yeah.
Your energy levels. How do you navigate that?
Alex is so supportive in that, and it's about being an adult and just facing things front on and making sure you're taking your medication, for one thing, because I've been on it since I was 10 years old. But there was a time in my life where I said to myself, I don't have it. So I just threw the medication out the window and didn't take it for like 2 years, and then really, really suffered. But now, I know that I've got to take it, and there's certain things that I shouldn't eat, and it's just been a little bit more responsible than I was in my early 20s. But Alex is so helpful. Like, he lets me sleep in the morning if I'm ever really, really tired. So like, having him there is such a huge support network for me, because he will just take it on. He's very good in that way. Like, if I'm having a minor breakdown, he'll be like, I'll take him, I'll do this, I'll have him. Or if I need a minute, he's just there. So it's amazing to have someone like that.
Well, let's talk about you two then. Because obviously your relationship started in one way and it's progressed. And, well, not progressed, you go through life together. And it's now very different to what it would have been back then.
So different. We had our struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. I think we went from such a different place in our lives, like constantly in different countries, different parties, events, completely selfish people with just us two to worry about, to having a baby and not leaving the house. And it was a shock to the system. Till about a year, I think it was like the roommate phase.
Really?
Yeah. But we love each other so much, and we have such similar ideas of life and like where life should go and what it should be, that's what kept us together, because we know what we want in the long run. But it was hard work. We both are very irritable when we're tired, when we're hungry. So there was a lot of arguments, there was a lot of like difficult times, but not one time did we ever think that we'd leave each other's side. It just was hard.
Yeah. Did you talk about the fact that it was hard and that you weren't being...
Yeah, we had some really like serious conversations along the way about how things were and how we were treating each other. And we really had to start to become in tune with each other's love language, which we like love talking about, in the fact that Alex is very physical touch, I'm very acts of service, and we weren't doing that for each other, because I held a lot of resentment towards Alex, I think, because of what I went through. I felt like it was all on me, and I was doing everything all the time, and I went through all this, my body's this and this, and I just held that resentment in for him for such a long time, and the smallest thing would make me angry. And then eventually when we did talk about it and I said to him, I have resentment for you, it went. And
really?
Yeah, and it was just having that honest, frank conversation. I would tell anyone, like, you've just got to be so brutally honest which I'm not very good at. Like, I don't want to hurt anyone or say anything wrong, but I had to tell him
Plus,
that.
neither of you are particularly confrontational. No, you know what I mean?
Really.
So,
no, and I'm really stubborn. It's just a mix of the worst things. But yeah, if I could give any piece of advice to anyone, it is just be so brutally honest, because it will be so worth your time to do that, and it will save a lot of like upset.
Yeah. Do you make sure that you have time that's just yours now?
Yeah. We've got his birthday soon, actually. Staying in London. Like, we're lucky to have grandparents that will come over.
I love things like that. It's your birthday, so me and you.
I'm going to book a spa. Yeah, literally. But we do make sure we go out for dinner. We have the same friend group as well, so we'll be in the pub with them. But Abel comes to so much with us.
Yeah.
Like, because he's such an outgoing kid, like, he just loves it. He's so social.
Yeah.
So it, in a way, it is so hard having a child and still having that like social time, but he's so good in groups of people, and we've taken him out ever since he was really young, and I think that's really benefited the way that he is in social situations.
And you, because you'll become a, because he's always been there.
Yeah. Because I remember speaking to, I think it was my mum about it, and I was like, you just kind of need to just do it. I know it's really hard, like when you've got a kid running around like a headless chicken and you feel really embarrassed. But now I've got to the point where like, no, do you know what? Like, I don't care. I don't like, it's someone else's problem. if they're going to be bothered by that. Like, he's a child. He needs to be a child. And if he's in a pub garden, like being crazy, then just let him do it. He's not embarrassed. Why should I be embarrassed? I just love it. I'm very laid back. I think that's what we were surprised at. Alex is like more strict than me.
Really?
Yeah, he is more strict than me. I'm so
really
laid back. I
surprising.
know. I just feel like, oh, he's a kid, just let him eat dirt. Like, that's my look on things. Like, Alex, like, his hands are so dirty, and I'm like, oh well. And he's literally drinking like water with mud in it or something. But I grew up a bit like that with horses as well.
Yeah.
Like, it just like, he's mucking out my horse, like, and Alex is like, he's near poo. It's fine.
Yes, he is.
But no, I think Alex just likes things a certain way. So it's good to have, good
Yeah, a balance. Yeah, a balance.
Yeah.
It will swing either,
Exactly.
After, feeling like you weren't maternal, kids weren't your thing, how has motherhood surprised you?
Well, surviving on the sleep that I now survive on, maybe. I just feel like it just uncovers a whole other person. It just uncovers this person you had no idea existed inside of you. And I'm just so proud of myself and Alex. And it's quite hard to say that you're proud of yourself. I think people struggle doing that. But so proud of the people that we've become, even though we didn't think that it was in us. We're very different. We're so much more patient, so much more giving. Abel comes before me in all senses of the word. And I just didn't think that I had that in me.
If you could write a letter on motherhood, who would it be to, and what would you say?
Do you know what? It would be to my younger self, and it would say, like, give your poor mum a break. I was a bit of a nightmare as a teenager, especially.
But you just slept. You said you just slept from 8 until like midday.
When I was about 13, 14, I think from age like 13 to 16, I was a bit of a nightmare.
Right.
There's a whole other story. It's a whole other podcast to be talking about me as a teenager. No, I would literally say to my mum, like, I'm just sorry for like the amount of stuff I did that was just not easy on you, and I didn't realise how hard you had it and how much you were trying to make it work at every opportunity. Like, there's stories she's told me about the stuff she did for us, and I never realised the enormity of it until I become a mum myself.
Yeah.
So I would just tell my younger self, just chill out, man. She's going through something.
I wonder how our feelings towards our teenage selves, and then along with that, our parents will change as our kids get closer to those ages. The challenges
I'm
that we
scared
face.
to have a teenage boy.
I know.
Do you say to them? How old is your eldest now?
10.
It's scary.
Yeah, they just start grunting and stuff at you, I think. Even now, when I ask him to do something, he just goes, no. You're like, I don't know what to do now. That was such
shocking.
a firm no.
Okay. I'm scared.
But he does stuff, and then you'll see him slightly smile.
Aww.
And you're just like, look, you can't act like that and be joking about it.
Do you still see them as like the babies that...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that makes me really sad. It makes me want to cry, honestly.
Honestly, and when they sleep, when they sleep is when I probably go in and give them a good old smooch good night. And yeah, they are. They're just your babies, but just
still. Yeah, I literally spoke to my my mother-in-law, and she was like, you just still, doesn't matter what age, you still look at them like your babies. Like, she still looks at Alex now as a baby, and I get it now. Like, I understand it now.
Oh, it's the whole, one day you're going to pick them up for the last time and not know it's the last time thing.
Why are they trying to make us cry? I was thinking about the baby grow thing. Like, he's like not worn baby grow with feet for so long, and I'm like, when was the last time he wore them? I'm trying to rack my brain or look through pictures. Like,
how is this time going so fast? But people say it, right? People go, oh, enjoy
they warn you.
It goes so fast, but you just can't. You have to just live it.
Yeah, no, it's true.
We end the podcast with you completing 3 sentences.
Oh no!
Oh no!
No.
The first one is being a mum means
putting someone else before yourself 100% of the time, but never forgetting that you also need time.
Since having a child, I
have so much patience that I never thought I'd had before. It's in oodles now.
And I'm happy when?
I'm happy when I go to bed at night and I take Abel to sleep and I watch his little eyes close and him go to sleep and just look so peaceful with his little monkey teddy. That is just my happiest moment, when I can just stare at his face and he's just so peaceful and so content and so safe.
And so still.
And so still. And not crying and not telling me no and not whacking me in the face.
Perfection.
Love that.
Olivia, thank you so much.
Thank you. I know I've rabbited on. I'm literally a chatbot.
No, I've absolutely loved it. I've loved it. And I absolutely adore you.
And I love you.
I know our chat got heavy at points, but I just want you to know that you are worthy.